Morning, Brother Kavor. Morning, Brother Mark.
Hello.
Good to see you.
Yeah. Mark.
Good to have you all here. What do we got? Oh, almost 10. I don't know how many to expect. You know, the hardest thing about these events, I put it on Facebook, of course, and I promote it as much as I can. And let's see, I have, according to Facebook, 9 going and 14 interested. But that usually has no bearing on how many actually show up.
Well, you've got 9. 8.
Do we have 9?
Got 8.
I got 8. We're almost there. So.
Good afternoon, Neil.
Good morning, Ryan.
Hey, there he is.
Everyone else.
Nice to see you, my brother. We do have more coming in. As I was saying, there's Jerry. Good. I was saying we have
and Jenny.
It's hard to judge for me how many people are actually going to turn up at one of these things. And honestly, if I have 20, or 30 or 40, I don't care. It's if I only have like 10 or so or 12, I kind of feel bad, especially if I have a speaker and, I want to have a decent audience. It's kind of like having a lodge meeting and you get some great speaker and you only have, 2 people on the sidelines and the officers, and that's all you got. It's embarrassing that the speaker has such a small audience. So as long as we have a decent crowd, I'm happy, but I've never have any idea how many really to expect week to week. So that's
we have someone from Poland. No, not Bulgaria.
Yeah.
Where's Marion from, Neil?
Who?
Marion. It's not Poland, is it? Is it not Bulgaria? Serbia?
Serbia, maybe? I don't know.
Oh, excellent.
Can't remember.
No, I can't remember either. We'll ask him when he joins in.
Morning, George.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Neil.
Georgia, it's good to see you, brother.
This is my second Zoom of the day.
Excellent.
It's good going, man.
Brother
and
Jerry.
And it's 10 o'clock Eastern time.
Yes. Brother Jerry, good to see you. Need you to unmute. Hello, Jerry.
Hello, Christopher.
Hey, nice to meet you in person finally.
Yeah.
For everybody else, Jerry and I have known each other on Facebook for at least 3 or 4 years, maybe longer. And he's the one who actually gave me the idea. So
I think it's been a little longer.
It may well be. I don't know. I'd have to go look. Facebook will tell me. It'll send me a little. You and Jerry have been friends for 11 years. Here's your 2 current profile pics. Facebook, if you're going to give me a video, at least give me like 3 or 4 pics from each profile, not just here's your current pic and his current pic. I mean, what? Dig in the archives, for God's sakes, You have all of our data. It's there. I've seen it. Go and dig some out. But anyway, yeah, I don't know how long I've been friends with someone unless Facebook tells me, and usually it's like 8, 9 years. But anywho, I'm glad Jerry's here. He gave me the idea. And he was actually the one who said, well, don't you know a bunch of Filipinos too? I was like, well, actually I do. Yes, that would be a good idea. Let me invite some guys I actually know local to me instead of just, usually I'm grabbing people that I've only met online who I happen to notice they're from this country. And that's where I get the idea to do that panel discussion with that country. But I'm fortunate to know several good brothers from the Norfolk, Virginia area who have been to the Philippines many times. So this should be a lot of fun. And it'll be an interesting perspective having Jerry here as well, who travels a lot to the Philippines. So we'll have a lot of different views on this, which should be great. And I'm glad. So I got at least 3 people for my panel so far. I'm keeping an eye out for anybody else. I invited about 7 or 8 brothers to be on the panel so I can just kind of share the questions among you all. If there's only 3, then you get to talk a lot. That's okay. At least 3 is a minimum, I think. 3 is a minimum, but the more the merrier, I think, because all of you have a different experience. So we're just at 10 o'clock. I'm going to give you a few more minutes because people normally dribble in for about 5 minutes after we start. Morning, brother Gary.
Oh, good morning. So I was muted. Good
How
morning.
you doing? Yes, good to see
Very
you.
good.
Appreciate you coming out today.
Absolutely. Looking forward to it.
All right, brother Clayton, good to see you. How you been?
I'm doing well. How are you doing?
All right. How are them ramps? How are them ramps?
Dead. I tell you what, they'll be coming in about a month or less.
We see now I have to make a trip down to Carolina and go try them. Now I have to. I just have to, since you praised them so.
If you've ever heard of a little town down near Asheville called Waynesville, North Carolina,
Yes.
they have an annual ramp festival.
Yes, I know. That's what you're telling me. You can describe it, but I almost want to go down and experience it just to.
Descriptions do not pay it service.
I would definitely have to do that. Brother Carbonell, greetings. Can you show us your smiling face so we can at least see who you are, please? Then you go back to hiding. There you are. How you doing, brother?
Yes, I'm fine. It's 10 p.m. here. I'm here in Indonesia right now.
In where?
Indonesia.
Venetia?
Indonesia.
Oh, Indonesia. Oh, wow. Awesome. I'm glad to have you here.
Yes, thank you.
Hey, yeah, Jerry, where are you? Are you over on that side of the world?
No, I'm in the Philippines.
You're in the Philippines. Okay, very good. Okay. Because you're based out of Michigan, right?
Yes.
Okay. So I know you go back and forth. You're a perfect example of what we're doing today. Okay. All right. I'm going to give it a couple more minutes before we start. For everybody here so far, we got 13 people. I'd like to welcome everybody. This is Virginia Research Lodge number 1777. It's our weekly unstated Zoom meeting. And we do this every Saturday at 10 o'clock, unless there is another research body that meets, and we tend to join them instead. But this week I'm really excited for this, and I've been looking forward to having this. This is our second panel discussion with brothers from another country. The first one was 3 brothers from Brazil, and that was well received, and I want to do more of them. So we're going to be interviewing brothers who visit the Philippines, and each of them probably has perspectives. Some maybe go often, some maybe have only gone a few times, some might have been raised there and then moved to the U.S., but we're going to just kind of get a feel for what it's like for Masonry in the Philippines and kind of contrast it to how things are in the U.S. in general. Since I'm in Virginia, we're setting us as the base, and everything else is in comparison to us, since I know more about Virginia Masonry than any other place. But this should be a lot of fun. And I'm going to wait a few minutes for other people to dribble in. This will be posted on YouTube, as all of the meetings are. I'm going to put some links up here in the chat. So this is hosted by Virginia Research Lodge. The first link is to our Facebook page. If you're not already a member, please join us. We have a lot of discussion about research in Masonry. I post our weekly emails of our research papers. We have 70 years of Virginia Research Lodge of presenting papers. It's a lot of history there. And year by year, I'm sending them out online. I send them out in a weekly email, which I also post to the Facebook group. And you're welcome to message me or email me to get signed up. And then we have a link to our website where you can look at more of the papers and other things about the officers and what all of our lodge. And then there's my email if you need to email me directly. Best way to get a hold of me is message me on Facebook. That's kind of how I keep track of the email list and everything. And if you're not already a member of the group, I encourage you to join. This Zoom meeting is open to any Mason. We are not restrictive. We are unvetted, as some of the Brits might say. We are the Wild West. Since we were the Wild West, I think it's only fair that America be the Wild West here, right? But I try to keep this as open as possible. I allow anyone who pretty much any Mason who wants to join our group, I allow them to join, and they're welcome to our Zoom meetings. You can be EA or Fellowcraft. If you're a potential Mason, if you're a candidate, I'm encouraging people who think about joining Masonry to join our group if that's where they're headed. And I'm not worried about your Masonic affiliation and regularity and such, since there's no way I can vet everybody. We just ask that you be civil on here and all like that. But we are very open here. If anyone wants to learn more about Masonry, we certainly allow you to attend. So we're not being strict here. And let's see, got a few more brothers joining. I'll go and say hello. Brother McGuyan, you want to unmask and unmute, say hello real quick?
Good morning, brother.
Hey, nice to see you. Where are you hail from?
From Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
Oh,
Just had our lodge meeting last night.
Oh, very good. My lodge had a meet and greet last night too. It was great.
Jim, is that why you have the cleary eyes in the just woke up look?
Yes.
Oh no,
Good
my
meeting
my
last night.
yeah, my wife is in the other room, and it appears that we have company. And yes, I did just wake up.
Nothing wrong with that.
Lovely.
Good to see you again, Brian.
And you, Jim.
Brother Loy, would you like to say hello?
Hi, my name is Loy. I'm from Malaysia,
Oh, excellent. Glad to have
Kuala
you.
Lumpur, Malaysia. I am a Blue Lodge of a Scottish Constitution, and I'm also the Scottish Rite of the Southern Jurisdiction Valley of Taipei.
Wow. Well, we are both in the same Scottish Rite. That's awesome.
Yeah, okay,
Good to have you here.
great. But yes, you know, Malaysia is far away.
Yes. You're as far away as our topic today, I think.
Yeah. It's 11 o'clock night now in Malaysia.
Well, we appreciate you staying up.
Yep. Try to see and listen what is going on, especially with this COVID-19. We have so much things to lock on, and a lot of receiving a lot of new things. Yeah.
Yep. We appreciate you being here.
Yeah.
Hello, Brother Clark. Nice to see you again.
Hi, Christopher. Nice to see you, brother.
I recognize
everyone's
your
well.
painting. What's your background there?
That's Dunfermline Abbey in Fife, Scotland.
Excellent.
That is the resting place of the heart of Robert the Bruce, and also William Shaw and the statutes.
Oh, wow.
The statutes.
Very cool.
Good afternoon, Nobby.
Good afternoon, Brian.
Oh.
Good afternoon, Jim McGuigan.
Good afternoon.
They all know you.
Well, I think it's morning probably wherever you lot are.
Yeah, it's
Love
10
to meet
a.m.
Brian.
here, so
This morning
afternoon
here,
to
we're good friends from we meet in the 9 o'clock toast. The Scottish 9 o'clock toast is at 3 o'clock in the afternoon for us here in Wisconsin.
right.
And then a couple of the brethren from Scotland have joined my 9 o'clock toast, but it's 3 o'clock in the morning there.
Wow. That's dedication. So since I have most of you here, most of you are regulars here. I've been asked to host a brother who is. I thought he was in the UK, but the fellow setting it up is in the UK, and he's actually in Michigan, I think. But point is, he wants to talk about Jewish alchemy, and he is an observant Jew, so he can't do anything on a Saturday. He offered to record it, and we could play it, but I really think it'd be more useful to actually have question and answers. Those of you who are regulars, we had a brother speak about alchemy and compared it to the Master Mason's degree. It was very interesting. So I'm following in that line. But the point is, since he can't attend on a Saturday at any time, I was looking for another time to have us. We'll still have our Saturday meeting that week, but I'm thinking either Sunday evening or afternoon or Friday afternoon. And I want to make sure I'm accommodating to my British brothers, so I don't want to have it too late. But I was thinking probably like a Friday afternoon around 4, which would make it like 9 o'clock.
You might find that you can't do, Christopher, you might find you can't do it Friday afternoon either because Sabbath starts at dusk.
It does start at sundown, yes. So I'm going to clarify. But the brother I talked to, I haven't spoken with the speaker. I've spoken with, I guess, his agent, I guess, Brian. Who are the fellows you put me in touch with? He's been coordinating with me. And he said,
Is that Martin Folks?
No.
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 You got a really nice name at the moment, but it's not Martin.
The fella, well, I'll tell y'all. Let's see.
Chris, you can
Matthew
change.
Evans is the agent. It's Justin Sledge, and he spoke on their Esoterica channel. Matt Evans's lodge hosts, but he said that Friday afternoon was fine.
The problem with that time is that, as you say, it's 9 o'clock in the evening over here, which means that
Right.
most of the Masons can be involved, or a lot of them could be involved in Zoom meetings already. I'm thinking
Yeah, I
of Nobby, for instance, he's going to be
Okay.
doing his 9 o'clock toast.
Well,
My whole life, Brian, is Zoom meetings.
Exactly.
well, let me just ask, since I've got the British fellas here, what is the best time for you? Obviously, I don't think for my American friends, I could have a 10 a.m. Friday meeting, much as I'd like to, and just leave work. Sorry, I've got a more important Zoom meeting to go to. It's got to be early afternoon or evening. So what works better for you all?
Most of our lectures, I guess, start about 7:30ish. That would be a weird time over your end, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
That'd be, what about?
It'll be about 2-ish.
Yeah, I think 4 is the earliest I think we could do it.
Right.
So I want to make sure you all can participate if I can, because I want to get good questions and answers. And I count on my British brothers to fill out my Zoom meetings here. So I want to make sure I accommodate y'all.
It's 7 hours. It's 7 hours to Israel. So
but no one's in Israel.
Isn't that where the speaker's from?
No. The speaker's in Michigan. He's on U.S. time.
Oh, okay. He's in
So
Eastern time. That's fine then.
It's just that he can't meet on Saturday.
Yeah.
So yes, I don't have to worry about accommodate actual Jews in actual Israel. They can watch it on delay. I mean, the whole point is I can meet with him anytime, but I really want to get questions from the group because we got a lot with the other alchemist brother. So let me ask then, would Sunday afternoon be better? I mean, I could do it earlier in the day, Sunday, but what works for you all? What's funny is none of the Christians seem to have a problem with meeting on Sunday. That's what's kind of funny.
Well, over here, the churches are closed.
Well, that's true. So
our Zoom services, Rick, our services are on Zoom as well at the moment, and they're sort of 10 o'clock in the morning, so that's no problem. 10 o'clock our time, which is about 5 o'clock your time.
Right. No, I think it'll probably be like, I mean, I could even do an early afternoon on a Sunday, like on a 12 or 1 or something on a Sunday. And then it'd be 6 for you all.
I guess about noon Sunday might be a better option.
Yeah.
That interferes with the Salparaldi lectures. So they start at 4.
Right. Your time. And run to when?
Yeah, 4 our time. Well, yeah. Is it our time or is that Central European time?
Central European, I think it was.
Yeah, it's 4 Central Europe. These time zones get bloody confusing.
So when do they end your time?
About 6.
Okay. So if I have it at 1 or 2 on Sunday afternoon, it's like 6 or 7 your time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go for it. I mean, I only care honestly about the fellas in this room right here because you, Brian, Neil, Robert, mostly, a couple other ones, George. You guys are my regulars, so I want to make sure y'all can be here. So like a Sunday, like around 1 or 2 works for y'all.
Yeah.
6 or 7 your time. Okay, good. All right. Well, that's what I shoot for. Probably in like 2 weeks or something. I want to line them up soon, but okay. Well, that's good. You know,
I mean, I'm not sure what I'm going to do when this all ends because I haven't seen so many people in my house since I've been on the Zoom.
It's true. Okay, well, we got about 20 people. All right, well, that's what I'm going to go for then. this 10 o'clock Saturday has worked well for absolutely everybody so far, except for this speaker. So I don't even think about, people have asked me what I consider having a different time to accommodate like fellas further west of me, like in California or Arizona. And they're like,
Christopher, I have to go, my friend.
Okay.
Our delivery has arrived. If you want to
Attending.
switch me off from co-host, I'll be back as soon as I can.
Okay.
See you later.
Appreciate it. Thank you for coming out.
Thank you.
All right. There goes our lovely co-host. My Ed McMahon here. So I guess you'll have to bear with me if anyone else comes in. I'll have to let them in here. Okay, I appreciate everybody coming. I got 18 people. I'm going to go ahead and start the meeting properly. We've been recording this whole time, but I tend to trim most of this stuff out. I'd like to thank everybody. I tried to say hello to everybody when they came in. But my name is Chris Douglas. I am the junior deacon and web guy for Virginia Research Lodge number 1777, based out of Highland Springs, Virginia. And I live here in Virginia Beach. And I host these weekly unstated Zoom meetings to talk about Masonic subjects. This week's topic is brothers in, what I say was, I had a fancy title. Let me go bring it up. It is Brothers in Barongs, Masonry in the Philippines. And they'll tell you what a barong is in a sec. I'd like to welcome our panelists. I have 3, unless there's another one who joined us. I don't see them. Nope. So we have 3 panelists. We have Brother Manny Elefane, Brother Manolo Gadbonton, and Brother Jerry Townsend. I'm going to just go around and have you introduce yourself, give your title, and however you want. All of you, I'm sure, have a long title, so just say whatever's appropriate for you. You don't have to give your whole Masonic history, but just say hello, what lodge you're from, and what title you want to go by. Start with you, Brother Elefane.
I'm Manny Elefane. I'm the current secretary of Owens Lodge here in Virginia, District 35. Nice to see you all.
And next is Brother Jerry Townsend.
Jerry Townsend from Valenia Marcellus Lodge 227. Past master from Michigan. KYCH. I belong just about, you name it, I probably belong to it.
Thank you. And you're currently in the Philippines.
I am.
All right. And finally, Brother Manolo Gadbonton.
Hi, good morning. I'm Manolo Gadbonton, a past master from Victory Daylight Lodge. I was a California Mason and transferred to Virginia Beach, and currently a dual member of a Philippine Lodge, Most Worshipful Roberto Pagotan Memorial Lodge in Las Piñas.
Excellent. Okay. So all of you have something in common. You all have attended lodge in the Philippines. Have you not? All right, I assume all of you have. So, Brother Manny, you were raised here in the U.S.? You need to unmute. Unmute, Manny. Unmute.
Okay. Yeah, I was raised here in Virginia, 1984.
Okay. But you've attended lodge in the Philippines.
I haven't. I tried, but
you haven't?
when I was there, but it was closed, unfortunately.
Okay.
They were dark when I came over and visit.
Oh, okay. Well then, all right. I don't know if you'll be able to answer any questions. If you think you can answer a question, chime in. How about that then?
Okay.
All right. And Brother Jerry, what's your history with the Philippines?
Actually, I've been to a lot of different lodges here in the Philippines. And also attended York Rite, Scottish Rite, Red Cross of Constantine, Rosicrucians, had Masonic degrees. But the Blue Lodge was quite different. I was really surprised.
Yep.
We're similar in a lot of ways and different.
Well, I'm gonna ask questions and we'll dive into that. But you were raised here in the U.S. You were raised in Michigan.
I was raised in Michigan.
Okay. All right.
1996.
Okay. And Brother Manolo?
Yes, sir.
You were raised in California, you said?
Yes, Gemini 825. Now it's now defunct, and they merged with Hayward Lodge.
Okay. All right. So we'll just go around here with the questions. Brother Manny, what is the name of the Grand Lodge in the Philippines? And is there one Grand Lodge for all of the Philippines?
The Grand Lodge of the Philippines, I think they have a clandestine lodge to the other lodge that I can't remember. I'm not following that so close. I only had the chance to involve with it if some of the brothers from Virginia have affiliation with the other Grand Lodge that's not recognized, then I have to do action with it.
Okay. And what's the name? It's the Grand Lodge of the Philippines, correct? Is it AF and AM or?
It's F and AM.
F and AM. Okay. And Brother Jerry, do you know how many lodges are there under the Grand Lodge?
There's quite a few, but there's like 4 different Grand Lodges here.
There's 4. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, explain that.
Well, there's one that's clandestine.
Okay.
But which back in 2006 or whatever, they got in a big argument, so they formed their own Grand Lodge, and they took it back in the early 1900s. There was a few different Grand Lodges until they all got organized and merged with the one Grand Lodge.
Okay.
Well, one did not. And the other one that did, they took that title back, but it's not legit because there is no surviving members. GLP, Lodge of the Philippines, is what's recognized.
Right.
IGLPI, which is the clandestine lodge, is not recognized. And then there's another one. Actually, they still meet, but they're not recognized. And it's from Spain. They got their title.
Right.
And then we have a Scottish lodge here under the Grand Lodge of Scotland.
Really? One?
Yes.
One Scottish?
What? Yeah, there's only one Scottish lodge in the Philippines.
That's
in
right.
Manila. Pearl de Orient, I believe it is.
Oh, yeah.
Perla Oriental, and they meet. In fact, a buddy of mine happens to be worship master right now of that lodge.
Interesting.
And most of all the members are Filipinos.
Right. Well, Filipinos in kilts. All right.
Yes. Actually, they wear barongs.
Right. Does a barong go with a kilt? I don't know. Would you have?
I've never seen the Filipinos in the kilt.
No, I would think all that wool would be a bit hot for the climate, I think. You wouldn't wear a polyester kilt. Brother Manolo, is the Grand Master of the Philippines elected every year?
Yes.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay.
They'll be doing it now in the near future, a few weeks from now.
Okay. So how are their Grand Lodge officers different from, say, Virginia? Do they have the same?
I think they have more.
More elected ones? I'm just talking about.
No, not elected ones, but appointed ones.
Okay. I mean, like, do they have like a deputy like us? And
they are called differently.
I mean, like, going from Grand Junior Deacon on up, are they the same as the Grand officers we have? I
believe so.
Okay. Because I've wondered, because not everybody calls them, not everyone has a deputy Grand Master, where they call them something different.
If I may add some more.
Go ahead.
Any appointed officer in the Grand Lodge automatically entitled as very worshipful, if I'm not mistaken. That's why we have a lot of very worshipful running around in the Philippines.
Is that the same as right worshipful here?
No.
Or is it different?
No.
Okay. So the Grand Master is most worshipful? Okay. And what about like the Grand Junior Deacon, all of them? They're right worshipful or very worshipful?
I am not sure about that because I am not sure whether once they ascend to the grand office, if they earn automatically the entitlement of right worshipful. But most of them that ascend to the Grand Lodge office were previous district deputy Grand Master.
Right. Right. So that's like us. For those who aren't from Virginia, in Virginia, the master is worshipful once you're served as master of the lodge, and then once you're served as district deputy grand master, you're referred to as right worshipful, and once you're elected grand junior deacon, you're also right worshipful. But usually at that point, you're already right worshipful, and then once you're grand master, you're most worshipful. And we do retain the titles after office. I think most grand lodges are the same in that once you've been awarded a title, you have it the rest of your life. It's only certain things like in the York Rite, for example, you may hold one title while in office and then you have a different title when you're out.
Not like that in Scotland.
No? How is it in Scotland?
Once you leave, you're right worshipful master when you're the master of the lodge.
Mm-hmm.
When you leave it, you're just brother again. And it's the same for everything.
Really? Okay.
It is a title that goes with the office. It doesn't stay with you. It's not a nom de plume that we use.
Right.
The Pearl de Orient in Manila was 1907. It was chartered, and it's part of the District Grand Lodge of the Far East, where the District Grand Master is in Hong Kong, and he looks after Hong Kong, Korea, and Japan.
Okay. Interesting.
It's more similar to that. Wisconsin is very similar to Scotland. That,
really?
with the exception that in Scotland, whenever somebody is a past master, they have the right to sit to the right of the worshipful master as the immediate past master. In Wisconsin, we don't typically have other past masters sitting in the east.
Right.
Oh, well, we would have past masters sitting in the east, but most of the time we're having to get them to fill offices now.
That doesn't count now. Yeah, I'm interested in the immediate past master. We're going to delve into that when we do English topic. So, Jim, so you're saying in Wisconsin, if you're a past master, you're not called worshipful once you're out of office?
No, so I'm just past master.
Yeah, we really.
So, but in the Grand Lodge, you're considered to be, well, I guess you're a past Grand Master, but there's no special title.
Right.
You're just you're back on the level with everybody else.
That's interesting. I figured. I mean,
the terminology worshipful is in our constitutional laws, but it's just as the worshipful past masters of the lodge. Right. But that's not attributed to you.
I wouldn't say worshipful Clark. I'd just say brother Clark. Okay. Yeah. I mean, I don't want to make assumptions about Masonry because everybody is different, but I figured most of the American lodges, Grand Lodges, would be similar in their makeup. But it's interesting.
It gets quite confusing when you go down south as a past master and everybody's calling you worshipful and you're going,
no.
But I've got to the stage now where I just let it go. If they want to call me worshipful, that's up to them. I'll just not embarrass them by say, no, I'm not.
Right.
All right. Because, it's just what it is.
Right. All right. Getting back to Jerry, how many officers in the Blue Lodge in the Philippines?
Just like our lodges. But when you serve as a DDI or district deputy inspector or district lecturer, then you get the title of very worshipful.
Oh, okay.
And normally people that are in the Grand Line of the Philippines have already served in one of those capacities.
Right.
So they already have the title during.
That's why it's typical for us right worshipfuls. I mean, I think all of our like DIWs are all past district deputies anyway, so they're right worshipful by that.
Yeah, you serve your term and you keep the title.
Right. Interesting. Okay, so and of course it's still called a Blue Lodge. It's not referred to as anything else in the Philippines.
They've got the same amount of officers that a regular Blue Lodge has.
Right. Okay. Interesting. Brother Manolo, how many? So, are the elected officers the same then?
What is it again?
The same. Are the elected officers the same in the Philippines?
Yeah, basically the same.
Secretary, treasurer. Are the secretary and the treasurer typically elected like ours, where usually a past master and usually for multiple years in a row?
Traditionally, but not necessarily.
Okay. Because of course that's very typical for us. It's rare. I don't know that I've ever seen someone who is not a past master serve as secretary or treasurer in any Virginia lodge. Have you? I've never seen one.
It's what right now. The last year, the secretary of Naomi, 87, he's not a past master.
Really?
Yeah, he's been a secretary for about 3 years, 4 years.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
That is the exception, though.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was the secretary when I was the senior warden. I was secretary when I was master, and I'm still secretary.
Well, that's one thing you can't be. You can't have two offices in Virginia.
Well, I'm only acting. You can only be acting. Yeah.
Right. So, Jerry, can the worshipful master serve more than one term, or is it typically 1 year and out? Like
it's usually 1 year and out.
Okay. All right.
But if the lodge is in trouble, yeah, they can serve 2 years, then out.
Right. Well, I'm saying typically. I mean, obviously we have exceptions here in Virginia. We like, well, this year, for example, in a lot of lodges, in Virginia Research Lodge, for one, everybody stayed in office because of COVID. We didn't get to have an annual, and the grand officers stayed in line because they didn't get to do everything they wanted in 2020. But this year is certainly, of course, an exception to the norm. So normally everybody progresses 1 year at a time.
Yeah, it's usually normal 1 year.
Right. Okay. And Brother Manolo, how many do you belong to a lodge in the Philippines, or you just attend one?
Yeah, I do.
What lodge is it?
It used to be Pagkakaisa Lodge 282, and when the past Grand Master passed away, they named it after him, Most Worshipful Roberto Pagotan.
Okay.
We knew him when he visited with the entourage of Most Worshipful. Wow, I got a memory lapse. The then Grand Master who hailed from Bacolod City, he was a judge.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So how many members in that lodge?
Wow, I don't know the exact number, but we have a lot, mostly military people, and mostly military, police, and the prison people that manage prison, just like here, the jail.
Deputies and all? Guards?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So as far as like, well, so average attendance at a meeting would be how many? How many people showing up?
Around 30 to 50.
Okay.
That's good.
At least in my lodge.
Okay. So better well, I'd say better than us, but I've been okay. There are a few lodges in Granby Street that have more members than the rest of us do. 20 at a Ocean View meeting is pretty good. 20, I think at Naomi would be, or Victory. 20 at Victory, you'd be saying, what's wrong?
Victory traditionally, I mean, lately before the pandemic, we were averaging over 30.
Right. And what's the average age of the members?
Back in the Philippines or Victory?
In the Philippines. In the Philippines.
I'm not really sure. I would say around late 50s to 60s.
Okay.
Or early 60s.
But still younger members. I mean, I'm trying to contrast and compare. Would you say it's like you see younger guys there more than here?
Oh, we have a lot of younger guys. Yes.
Okay. Okay. So not that. So far, it's not that different than that I've seen. Okay. Brother Jerry, are there districts within the Grand Lodge?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, there's you got to understand the Philippines is like 7,000 islands. So there's a lot. They're spread out.
Right.
There's about every major town. There's a lodge.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
So how many lodges in a district typically?
You're probably 15, maybe.
15? Wow, that's a lot to take care of.
Yeah.
And the district deputy, do they have the similar system for district deputies, or they call them something different?
Yes. DDI, and they also have a lecture, district.
Right. Okay.
Lecture.
Yeah. Okay, and they typically serve for 1 year under the current Grandmaster then?
Well, yes.
Okay. Okay. Just for contrast, like here in Virginia, the district deputy Grandmaster gets appointed by the Grandmaster. Every district gets to nominate someone, and then usually he takes their pick. I think actually both Manny and Manola are past district deputies. When we were 35A and B.
They're voted on.
Huh? What's
They're
that?
voted on district.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we nominate someone, but then the Grandmaster can say, nah, I'm going with this guy over here. So he has his final say. But the DIWs and the district instructors of work and district educational officers are appointed, and they tend to serve for multiple years. Whereas, and I know the inspector is a little bit different. Like our DIW, they hold ritual schools, but they don't go to the lodge and examine. It's like if you want your certificate as junior warden, you go to the school, you coordinate with the district instructor of work, and you meet with them, and they'll pass you. Whereas I understand the instructors actually go to the lodge and hold an inspection during a regular meeting. It's a different kind of way.
But here they also have a regional director.
Oh, okay.
So, and he's over the DDIs.
Oh, okay.
Regional district deputy instructor.
Okay. So, Jerry, sticking with you, you mentioned York Rite. So, what are the different appendant and concordant bodies over there in the Philippines? Similar to us? Do they have ones we don't? Do we have ones they don't?
Yeah, it's all from American. The York Rite.
So they have chapters, councils, commanderies.
Yep.
And Scottish Rite. Okay.
Brother Jerry, I have a little question.
Please.
Do they have some kind of like certification to become a master? Like here in Virginia, you have to have a certificate before you become a master.
I don't know if you have to certificate, but you have to be a master mason.
Right, master mason, and then a certified that you'll be able to open and close the lodge and do work, stuff like that. Do you have that kind?
Not that I know of.
Well, that's what the inspection
we do have that in Virginia.
Yeah, that's what the inspection is, though, right? Is they go and because I think Maryland has something similar to what the Philippines has, in that you have an inspector who actually visits the lodge and watches the senior warden open and close. And
we don't have that in Scotland.
Yeah.
We have actually, after we get elected by the lodge, we have to take this examination. And then once we pass that examination, we're given the certificate. So the examination is both oral and written. Oral means
so we're not talking about to serve as. Are you talking about to As a Mason, Larry? We're talking about
as a master.
Okay.
As a master of the lodge?
Yes, as master of the lodge.
Oh, okay.
Even the wardens also take the exams.
That's good.
Okay.
Yeah. And for Master Mason, before you get issued the certificate,
Right.
you have to also take the examination in the catechism.
Right. Well, we're not talking about catechism. We're not talking about everybody. We're talking specifically to be master of the lodge.
For the master of the lodge, we are required to once you get elected, the next meeting they like in my case they allow me to sit in the east and open the lodge.
Okay.
Okay.
If you're proficient already.
But here in Virginia, before you get elected, you should have a certificate.
Right. You cannot be you have to obtain a warden certificate before you can be elected master. You
Correct.
Get it as well. If a lodge is running on all cylinders, the junior warden gets his certificate his year, so that way it's out of the way. I've seen some junior wardens get a certificate in November before because they took a while to get it.
We have that also.
That's good.
We don't do that in Scotland.
Right. Okay. Brothers, I'm sorry. I want to really kind of focus more on specifically what the Philippines is. I don't want to necessarily have every single Grand Lodge chime in, but I appreciate it. Try to stay on topic, but I do appreciate everybody coming in. Jerry, I just want to finish up on the appendant bodies. Is there any appendant body that's in the Philippines that isn't anywhere else? Or that isn't common in America?
They don't have night masons here yet.
Okay.
I'm a member of Night Masons also.
Right. But they don't have anything.
You've had General Grand Chester, General Grand Council, Compass. They have visited the Grand York Rite session.
Okay. Cool. Manolo, what are the dues in the Philippines?
Pardon?
What is it?
In the Philippines?
Manolo. What is it?
What are the dues in the Philippines?
On my end, I pay $100
a year. Okay.
A year, yeah. There are 3 of us in here. Right Worshipful Austria and Brother Di Maano. So I coordinate their dues, and it's time of the year that I'm actually delayed for 2 months now. I got to pay them.
Oh, same idea. And then for are there other, like for meals and such? Do you pay, like, do you chip in for the dinners, or is that covered by the lodge?
When I visited going around the lodges, there are lodges that if they prepare, just like here, if they prepare nice spread, it is, I feel like you have to chip in for whatever the cost that you estimate for that.
Okay.
But mostly they are generous. And also it's not only dinner.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Yeah. So
I would like
good fellowship.
From my own personal experience, when I was early on in my lodge, which was Charles T. Morton was the lodge I was raised in, and Victory Daylight Lodge was meeting at Maycox. They were meeting at an Oddfellows Hall, and they had not yet moved into our temple. And actually, they recently moved out of our temple, moved out to the beach. But Victory Daylight met on Saturdays, and I started regularly because they were doing work, and my lodge really wasn't. And I was like up and coming, like junior or senior deacon. I loved doing ritual work, and my lodge really wasn't doing any. So I visited Victory all the time because they put me to. I show up like, hey, Chris, can you do senior deacon? I'd be happy to. I got more practice raising most of Victory Daylight members. And it was a lot of fun. But the coolest thing was, because they met at like 10 o'clock on a Saturday, when they had a raising, the newly raised Mason would host lunch at his house. And I remember one time you raised 3 brothers at the same day, and then all of their wives and all set up at one of their houses. And we had a huge feast from 3 different families. And it was one of the best meals I ever had. We ate. That's where I got to taste chocolate beef for the first time. But I tell you, it was a wonderful tradition, because I mean, imagine a spread, 3 different families coming together and just fixing all sorts of food. Oh, we ate most of the afternoon away. That was great. But it's a wonderful tradition that the new member feeds the lodge. It's a good way of getting introduced and getting to know everybody. We always
though, Chris, in the Philippines for years, it was all the petitioners that provided the meal.
Hey, Manny, I'm sorry. Can I ask you to mute, or is that coming over your speaker? There's a lot of kids in the background and all that. I'm sorry. It's kind of hard to hear. Yeah, go ahead, Jerry.
In the Philippines, it was the petitioners that provided the meals, but they finally they've outlawed that because they were doing it for years.
Oh wow!
And there was one lodge that wasn't allowing anybody in, and they kept having the petitioners keep, providing the meals and meals.
Oh, you had to. You mean you weren't even voted on? You just had to provide the food, and you never got in. Oh, that's just wrong. No, that's really wrong.
They finally, I believe, outlawed that.
Okay.
So the petitioners can no longer provide the meals.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's definitely taking advantage of somebody.
In my lodge, they usually include the cost for the dinner in the annual dues. So we just come there, and the meals are already prepared. And sometimes if the worshipful master is kind of rich, so he pays for the dinner.
Okay. Hey, Brother Larry, is there a Grand Lodge of Malaysia, or are you under another Grand Lodge?
Oh, no. I'm a past master here. I'm past master in the Philippines, and I live in here in Indonesia for the past 10 years now.
Oh, okay.
So
I'm sorry.
After I became a master, I moved in here in Jakarta.
Okay. Well, thank you. I was wondering why you were cutting. It's like, but we're not talking about Malaysia. Why does Larry keep talking? Oh, good. Okay. Well, then good. We'll ask you questions too. I didn't realize you were a Filipino Mason or from Filipino Lodge. I'm sorry.
Yes. There's another one here, a friend of mine. His name is Alvin. He's also a past master in the Philippines.
Who's that?
There's another one here in the group, Thomas Alvin de las Alas.
Oh, okay.
He's also a past master here.
I just joined a couple of minutes ago.
Oh, okay. Oh, well, greetings, Brother Thomas. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Well, yes, I'd be happy to add you into the discussion then. That's great, because the more the merrier. So what lodge you belong to, Thomas?
My mother lodge is Daet, Masonic Lodge number 247.
Excellent. Okay. All right. So, well, let's start with you then, Thomas. How would you dress for lodge in the Philippines? Is there a standard dress?
The typical white barong, of course.
Right.
And black slacks, black shoes. No.
And is that everyone? Did the officers dress differently?
No, it's a mandatory Masonic attire for us here in this jurisdiction.
So, but everybody wears it, not just the officers. I mean, everyone attending would dress that way.
Everybody who is a Master Mason who intends to enter the lodge and partake of the state meeting is required to wear white barong, black pants, black shoes, black leather shoes.
Excellent.
That's a strict protocol for us.
Okay. Brother Jerry, so are degree nights the same as like here, where you would, do you ever do degrees at a stated, or do you have a called communication for?
A lot of times they'll, during their stated meeting, say they usually meet at 2 p.m.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if they have a degree, they'll do that in the morning,
Okay.
the same day. A lot of times it's on a Saturday. So they'll start it with the breakfast and then go in and do the degree work. But strange, in the States where I'm from, we've got a lot of different people that become Masons, you know.
Right.
Our local pig farmer and the butcher and the doctor, lawyer, whatever. In the Philippines, you got to have, you got to be some type of a business or higher up in the PNP police or in the
Philippine
military.
National Police.
You got to be pretty high class. It's
Really? Okay. Don't have a lot of blue collar members.
No.
Interesting. Okay. Brother Manny, go ahead. Manolo.
Yeah. If I may interject,
Please.
The main reason it becomes that way or it's perceived that way is the cost that goes along with getting involved with Freemasonry. As it was noted earlier, before they banned the lavish preparation for the food and the expenses, most people that I knew, they spend anywhere from 100,000 to 150,000 to become a Master Mason. Pesos.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, put that in dollars. You're freaking me out here.
That's about
100,000 is a little over $2,000.
about $2,000.
Okay.
And the waiting period to even process as a petitioner is anywhere from 1 year to 2 years in waiting.
Right.
And you are serving the lodge. You have to be there. You're gonna do all the chores.
Right.
I don't know now that I haven't been there for the last 3 years. I think it has changed already.
That has also been outlawed.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
They don't allow that anymore. Strictly speaking, if you would really follow the edict of the Grandmaster.
Okay. That's interesting. Okay. Brother Thomas, since we're on you, so you have do you open all of your meetings on, like, say do you have a regular stated meeting at a scheduled time each month? Is that always open on Master Mason?
It's a stated meeting, so it's always here in the Philippines. It's always like first Saturday, first Monday.
Right, understood.
Our lodge is a third Saturday of each month.
Okay, and do you always open on the Master Mason's degree for stateds?
Of course, yes.
Okay. Well, we say of course, but that's typical here. But
yeah, I understand that in other jurisdictions they open the degree.
Yep. I'm sorry, you have a bad connection, Thomas.
Yeah, I understand in other jurisdictions they open in the first degree instead of the third degree.
Right.
But here in the Philippines, we always do so in the third degree.
Right. Okay.
And I heard a story. I don't know how true. There's a lodge in the U.S. called Benicia, somewhere in California, and I heard that they always open in the first degree. I don't know if it's true or not.
Well, I think that's something the Grand Lodge would dictate whether they're allowed to or not. I understand in Virginia I think they used to open in the Ed Apprentice degree at one time. You know what's
we open in Wisconsin. We open in the first in the EEA, and this is just a COVID thing. Only Master Masons vote, but we'll open in the EEA until it's done.
How about conducting business?
Yes, we conduct business in Wisconsin in the EEA.
Okay.
Conduct business in the first.
Yeah, we do in Scotland.
All right.
Yeah, it's interesting in Virginia. Well, we've long been, as long as I've been in, we always had to open in the Master Masons for stateds, but it wasn't. I was in at least 5-6 years. You are required at one time to actually open in the Master Mason's degree, even to confer other degrees. So imagine this: I actually was at a meeting where they had to do this. They opened in the Master Mason's degree at a called communication. They called off from the Master Mason's degree, opened and entered an apprentice degree, examined a candidate on its proficiency, closed the EA degree, opened the fellowcraft degree, passed the candidate as a fellowcraft, closed the fellowcraft degree, and then called back on the Master Mason's degree and closed the Master Mason's degree. This was all on one night. They made a change shortly after I joined where they said, never mind that. You can open a degree directly on an EA or a fellowcraft and just do the business of that degree. But can you just imagine having to go through all of that every time you want to do any lesser work? It was a nightmare. I mean, it was too much. So,
in Michigan, we could open and close by sign.
Right.
So we could just drop down, do the work.
Oh, you didn't have to actually, yeah. No, we had to actually do the whole, starting from scratch, the whole bit. So Jerry,
most worshipful Jerry, I just want to say that we're friends in Facebook, and I love your posts.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's how Jerry and I met, was through Facebook. So Jerry, are the lectures in the Philippines the same then in each degree as be typical for American lodges? The lectures after each degree?
It's pretty much the same.
Okay.
The only thing that's a little bit different, our ritual from Michigan is a lot like New York. Because that's where we got our charter from, New York. In the Philippines, they pass from the east to west and back again, the substitute word.
Right.
Now, we do not do that in Michigan. And their Tyler is already outside the door, where ours is inside the door before the master calls them to the east and blah 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 blah, and here's your implement. But in the Philippines, they do that.
Right.
He's already out. The master doesn't even acknowledge him. So it's a little different.
Okay. But they still have the lectures like we have.
Oh, all the lectures pretty much the same.
Okay.
How do you say the substitute for the master's word? Do you does one party say the first syllable and the other one says it, or the senior warden says it all?
We don't say that. Our ritual is a little different. We do not do that.
Oh, you don't reveal, you don't say out or you don't whisper the substitute?
No.
Oh.
And in Michigan, when we open, when the master says, "Together, brother, give the signs," they give all the signs plus the grand hailing sign.
Right.
In the Philippines, they don't do that.
Oh, we don't do the grand hailing sign.
That's right.
But
We don't do the sign.
But you do the signs of all 3 degrees.
Tragedy.
Okay. Brother Manolo, is there more than one volume of sacred law on the altar? Oh, no, it's just the Bible.
I haven't had the pleasure to attend any conferral other than Christian, so I wouldn't know. But maybe our
Thomas or
yes, if there's a member who belongs to another religion, then that's his VSL is included in the altar. Especially when, for example, if there's someone who's a Muslim who wants to be initiated, then the Quran is on the altar, and that's where his obligation.
So just for their degree.
But they buy the book that is open.
I'm sorry?
The Holy Bible is the book that's open. The
Right.
Quran also on the altar, but it's not open.
Okay.
Yes, it's closed.
Interesting. Okay. Well, which book did they put their hand on? Like if they were.
Yeah, if it's a Christian, then it's on the Bible.
Well,
but
no,
if
I mean
it's
obviously a Christian. I'm saying if you were initiating a Muslim, they would just put their hand on the closed Quran.
Yes, yes.
Okay. Okay.
I've experienced that before.
Okay.
We have a candidate who's a Muslim, and that's what we did.
Christopher, I've got a question.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, with the ritual and most of the workings in the Philippines not be similar to California because that's who formed the Grand Lodge?
Yes.
Yes, yes.
More than likely, yes.
Yes, most likely because the mother Grand Lodge of the Philippines is California.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, because there was three Californian lodges and 2 Scottish lodges, and they thumped us to take in the mother lodge.
Right.
Yes, before. yes. Before there were 3 lodges chartered by the Grand Lodge of California, which formed the Grand Lodge of the Philippine Islands.
Yeah.
And then and then one of the lodge of Scotland joined the GLPI.
Yeah,
And then
Cebu.
later on, yes, Cebu Lodge. Yes.
Yeah, Cebu Lodge. Yeah.
All right, brother Manolo, you had your hand up.
Yeah, I was gonna say that what they have said that the Philippine got their thing from California,
Right.
and it's pretty much patterned from California rituals.
Okay.
Philippines, Hawaii, and then after that, Japan got theirs from the Philippines. So it's all influenced by California Masonry.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, that is before the California Masonry took over the Gran Oriente de Español, which is practiced by our brethren from the Katipuneros, the KKK, during the Spanish regime or towards the end of the Spanish regime. And ironically, our brothers from the Spanish jurisdiction got overtaken by the California, and they became, I guess we could call them clandestine or not recognized anymore. I don't know if there are any remnants of the Spanish Masonry.
Interesting. Okay. So as far as like the lodge layout, like the 3 candles and all that, where are they situated at the altar? Typical, same as Virginia, or? Okay. Interesting. And I assume the working tools then are the same, or they don't have any real variance. Okay. All right. Brother Jerry, do they have, does the Philippine observe different ancient landmarks from what we would consider typical here? And I mean, I know we're not standardized by far, but.
No, it's pretty, everything is pretty much the same. It's just, the only thing I've noticed is in the ritual, in the opening and closing, a couple of the wordings are different.
Okay.
But other than that, it's right on, spot right on.
Yeah, you wouldn't be lost. I mean, if you're sitting there listening, you're not going to be lost. You're like, oh, okay, yeah. Well, I mean, I've traveled like to Maryland, which is not that far from Virginia, but they're like, I'm listening to the Fellowcraft lecture. I heard a Fellowcraft lecture, and I recognized the part that I'd learned, of course, and then I heard a whole bunch of stuff. And then I heard something that I recognized. Like, okay, I'm back on track again. And then I heard a whole bunch of stuff. And then they closed with stuff. It's like, okay, everything that I've memorized, I heard today. But I heard a whole lot of stuff I'd never heard before. So it's always fun to visit other places. You're like, yeah, okay, I got most of that, but I'm glad I learned mine because I don't think I'd be up for learning yours. Not right now. So Brother Larry,
yes.
So for meals and such, is it typical to have a meal before or after the meeting, or?
Well, there are some lodges. In my lodge, it's like there's a snack before the lodge meeting, and then there's a dinner after the lodge meeting.
Okay.
And sometimes if there's a racing, it's actually a feast.
Right. I've seen that too.
Lots of food, like a big party or something.
Yep.
That well, normally in like I've attended some lodges in the UK and also in France, and we usually pay for the dinner.
Right.
But we don't do that in the Philippines. If you're a visitor, it's all free. Just come in, and everything will be taken care of.
Right. Okay. Very good. Brother Thomas, do you have like social occasions outside of lodge? Do you have like social events that the lodge sponsors? Thomas?
Maybe Thomas is out. Yes, we do have also some lodges. In our district, we have this sports fest.
Mhm.
So lots of sports activities, and it includes all the lodges. Like we play basketball. There's a basketball tournament, bowling, and all those. So every year we do that to enhance the camaraderie among the brethren.
Absolutely. Excellent. Jerry, are you aware, is there is there co-masonry in the Philippines that you're aware of?
No, but there is an Odd Fellows here.
Okay. Well, it's not
But,
the same thing. But
That's a kind of a co-masonry.
No. Co-masonry, female masons, mixed lodge.
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
Okay.
None that I know of.
Okay. I don't know why you mentioned the Odd Fellows then. Are the Odd Fellows mixed?
They are both men and women now.
Oh, are they? Okay. Well, yeah, but that's. Well, I mean, I know that.
That's why they're odd fellows.
Right. I know that the Moose mixed. They became the Moose family, or whatever it is. Several other bodies that were primarily men they've made the decision as a nationwide body to admit women. I had a good friend of mine who served as my chaplain when I was master the first time, a fellow named Cecil Spires. He used to tell me this joke that he said, fellow wanted to go and join some, fraternal body. He didn't care what. And he went down to the Catholics and he said, I want to join this Knights of Columbus. And they said, well, what church do you belong to? And he says, oh, I belong to, First Methodist Church of, whatever right here. And they, oh, whoa. No. You have to be a Catholic if you want to join the Knights. And he says, oh, okay. And he goes down to the Masons and he says, oh, I want to join the Masons. And they said, well, sure, what church you belong to? He says, oh, I belong to our Blessed Lady Sepulchre of the Faith over here. And they say, whoa. You can't be a Catholic and be a Mason. And he says, wow, well, I want to join the Knights, but they said I had to be a Catholic. And I want to join the Masons, and they said I had to be a Protestant. I'm a sorry son of a bitch. Oh, well, you can join the Moose. They're right down the street. So, and that fellow was like a 50-year Moose, so I felt it was okay to tell that story. Anyway, and okay, obviously in the Philippines, Matt Manolo, we'll go to you. Are men of every race and religion welcome in the Philippines? Do they have any of the issues we've had, or is it pretty much all are welcome? There really isn't. Is there any kind of discrimination that traditionally, or?
As far as I know, we are pretty much open.
Okay. Interesting. Okay. It seems like America seems to be the one place that had the biggest problem with that throughout history. I mean, I know our history better than others, but we're supposed to be any man of any faith, any race, any whatever, but it seems like American Masonry kind of fell short on that issue, but at least we're trying to correct it now. I guess we can say that, right? And are the meetings held? Man, stick with you, Manolo, since you're up. What language are the language? Yeah, is the degree work done in English and Tagalog in a mix, or what?
English.
It's all in English.
Yeah.
The one that I attended to, I don't know about Brother Jerry and other the couple of brethren from in Indonesia right now.
Mm-hmm.
All the work is done in English.
Okay. I actually had a chance to attend the lodge. I was in Okinawa.
The worshipful master,
yes.
Sometimes when he's talking, he may speak Tagalog.
Right.
But all
well,
of
he's just
work,
speaking normally. Right. Okay.
any work and lectures all done in English.
Okay. I actually attended a Filipino lodge in Okinawa. I was in Okinawa, Japan when I was in the Marines. This is 87. I attended Okinawa Lodge and Teikoku Lodge. And one was under the Grand Lodge of Japan, one was under the Grand Lodge of the Philippines.
That's right.
And many of the same brothers from both, were there. And I'm sitting in one of them, I think it was Teikoku, and the junior warden got up to close, and he rambled off his part in Tagalog. And I had no idea what he was saying. I was like, what the? First time I'd heard it. I'd heard plenty of Japanese. I'd been over there like 6 months, but first time I heard Tagalog was the junior warden. I don't know why. He's like, English. What is he saying? But that
now, to mark some special occasion, an anniversary, the Grand Master did an edict where the lodge had to do everything in Tagalog.
Okay.
The opening,
Yes, every August we do that.
Yeah. That's interesting. Okay. Now, the important questions here, Jerry, do they have cigar smoking after lodge?
There's some brothers that may, yes.
Okay.
But it's the cigar is not as popular here as it is in the States.
Well, yeah. Okay. But I mean, like, is there smoke? Was there a time when they used to be able to smoke in the lodge rooms, or I'm sure by now that's all.
No, not in the room.
Okay. Because we used to actually allow smoking in the building at Granby, but
you got designated areas now.
Okay, in the building, or just
No.
outside? Just
It's
outside.
usually out.
Okay, yeah, that's pretty typical. My lodge has a tradition of allowing cigar smoking. It's what makes us stand out. So we have our man cave where we do our cigar smoking. Brother Manolo, do you have alcohol ever served at the meetings or after the meetings? Table lodges, anything like that?
Not on the meeting. After the meeting, I love it.
Do they?
Also,
Are they allowed
also-
to have alcohol in the build, like at a dinner or something after the meeting in the building? Are they allowed to serve alcohol?
after the meeting, the one that I attended to, not actually in the building, but right adjacent to the buildings or the hall, there are some setup that we partake.
Okay.
Not necessarily inside within that building.
If it's not allowed, like in Virginia, we know it's not permitted, period. You can't have alcohol in there.
Yeah, that I don't know the clear cut. I don't know the clear cut, but most of the one that I attended to, it's definite that we partake.
Yeah, absolutely. Brother Larry, is that your experience too, that you have partaking of alcohol after a meeting?
Yes. I mean, in my lodge is like 2-story. Upstairs is the lodge room, and downstairs it's the place where we do our we call it fellowship, the dinner and all that. So that's where we partake in alcohol downstairs.
Okay. I'm letting in a couple people here. Brother Brian, good to have you back.
Thank you. That was fun.
Got that all unloaded? Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, you'll have to watch this on YouTube. It was most interesting.
I will do.
I'll go back to Jerry. Do we have youth groups in the Philippines? I know. I believe we have. Chubby.
Yeah.
Yes. You've got all the youth groups, Job's Daughters, and D. Malay.
Okay.
Demo is real strong.
Yep. Okay. Very good. Yep. I know. I remember reading something about Filipino Demolay, so that's good to hear. Brother Manolo, what is the primary charity? Does the Grand Lodge have a primary charity? Do they collect for it, or?
I'm not sure about primary, but most of the lodges that I know, they love helping or reaching out for the schools, public schools.
Okay.
So they love doing outreach programs to the poor students.
Right, and that's mostly at the local level, and the lodge.
Local level.
Right.
I don't know about an official outreach sponsored by the Grand Lodge,
Right.
but more than couple of lodges that I know about, they are actively involved in such programs.
Right. Okay.
And they take pride of it.
Yeah. So there's no like we have the Masonic home. There's nothing.
We do have a Masonic charity called I think it's a charity for burnt and crippled children, and it's associated with the Grand Lodge of the Philippines.
The shrine does that.
Yeah. Is that with the shrine, Thomas, or?
So there's a separate one for the Grand Lodge.
Oh, really? Okay.
Called Masonic Charity for Crippled Children Incorporated, if I'm not mistaken. And the Grand Lodge also maintains this ward in a hospital near the Grand Lodge. I'm not sure. I forgot the name of the hospital, but they do finance a ward there in that hospital.
Very good. Okay. I was asking if there was like a Masonic home, because Virginia has a Masonic home specifically for Masons, elderly Masons, their wives, widows, and so forth. And that's a major. It's owned. It's separate.
Okay.
It's basically owned by the Grand Lodge.
Okay. No, we don't have those. Well. Okay, in our culture, we do not send our elderly in a Masonic home.
Right.
They stay in our houses, in our home, taken care by our relatives. Now, we help our elderly brethren from time to time when necessary. That's how we provide the charity.
Yeah, it's not a thriving business here in the Philippines.
Right. I understand. Okay. Well, I mean, I just cite that as an example because
we don't have much home for the aged or elderly.
Exactly. Yeah, that's much more of a cultural thing. Understood.
Yeah.
But like the Masonic home it's run separately, but it's basically part of the Grand Lodge. So that is, they brag on it as their official charity, but you could make the argument, is it really a charity because it's only benefiting actual Masons who are in Virginia? So yes, it's a charity, but it's not a charity that the wide world gets to take part. Like if you raise money for, say, leukemia or muscular dystrophy or something like that, you're helping the entire community, not just your own members. So, but the Grand Lodge likes to brag about the charity. It's also a mandatory charity. So, we have a certain amount of dues going right to it, but that's all I'm going to say, because I don't want the Grand Lodge stepping in and shutting down my meeting. So I'm going to let it go with that. We're all very proud of our Grand Lodge and the fine work they do. And
remember, they're always watching.
Absolutely.
And they're all seeing eye.
It's okay, Brian. We're the Wild West, Brian. We're the Wild West. It's okay.
No, I know why you're putting eye on yours.
That's right. They sent you your grand.
We've actually got 2 Masonic homes in Scotland, small Masonic homes.
And believe me, I'm not knocking the Masonic home in any way. It actually used to be an orphanage, which is really interesting. It used to be an orphanage, and then it became a retirement home for elderly Masons. Brother Manolo, go ahead.
Yeah, there was a joke one time on the orphanage. It was proposed one time in the mid-90s, and it was shut down by the wives because they were suspicious that the orphanage is being taken care because of those out of the wedlock.
Oh.
Created by brother. So that was just a joke. So, but it didn't take off.
Yeah, I see that. Well, you know, it's a problem, and you all chip in to solve it. I guess that's Masons coming together.
One thing that is good, the one thing that is good in the Grand Lodge of the Philippines, I think it's still going on. If you are a sojourner, that you have a place to stay as a lodging area for a minimal fee to be accommodated at San Marcelino, where the Grand Lodge is. Brother Jerry is still going on.
Say that again.
The temporary lodging for sojourning brothers that is located at the San Marcelino, where the Grand Lodge is.
Yep.
It's still there, right?
Yep.
Oh, excellent. I like that. So Jerry, do Masons typically wear rings, pins, and all that publicly? Car emblems?
Oh, yes.
Like that?
Yeah.
Okay.
They'll have it car emblems and rings.
Right. Okay. Are the buildings clearly marked as Masonic lodges, as temples?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
It sounds pretty typical. I'm asking, and I'm sorry if anyone thinks these are like dumb questions, but honestly, I find that I don't want to assume anything. It does appear that the Filipino Masons are very, very similar in their structure to U.S. Masonry, but I always ask because you'd be surprised. You ask a question assuming, well, they're just like this, and then it's like, well, no, we don't do that in the slightest. That's why I'm asking. So if anyone's wondering, because most of the time, most of these questions will come back as yes, yes, yes. So any prominent leaders, Jerry, like political officials, people that are well known outside of Masonry that are active in the lodge?
You have congressmen and senators.
Okay.
That are members of the Masonic fraternity.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And once in a while, they'll go up to a meeting.
Oh, that's good. There's no kind of stigma then of, you know, because some people there are American Masons who try and downplay, they're active in politics, and they, you know, try to make it, they don't want to advertise broadly the fact that they're Masons. It's sort of like you have to be a dead president to let people know you're a Mason.
Well, yeah, they don't advertise it so.
Right, but I mean, not, you know, like I know here in the U.S. there's if a person is rumored to be a Mason, sometimes that can be a political opportunity for their, you know, their opponent. You know, only in some parts of the country, not everywhere. So obviously, Manolo, you're allowed to affiliate with other lodges. You're allowed to belong to like a Virginia lodge, California lodge, as well as a Filipino lodge. Can you belong to as many lodges as you want in the Philippines?
Yeah, only if they take you, because on my case, the lodges where I come from, Pampanga, they are more stricter than the other lodges. So to this date, I'm still trying to get one of the lodges in Pampanga.
Really? Okay.
So the last one I tried to affiliate is in Bataan, so it's still in the works. So
wow.
I'm getting closer.
Okay,
maybe one of these days I'll be a member of Pampanga Lodge.
We're rooting for you. Well, you can show them this YouTube video or not. I don't know. That's up to you. Whatever you think will help you or not. So let me ask you then, Manolo, while I got you, are you aware of any? Are there research lodges in the Philippines?
I'm sure there is, but I haven't encountered one.
Okay. Do they typically have education, like Masonic education, at the meetings?
I haven't seen that one, but you know, we have a formal training workshop and education that is run by the Grand Lodge.
Oh, okay.
And it's like a school.
Right. So, I'm talking about like what we have, like where you have some, research papers and such in the regular lodge meetings. Yeah. Well, I mean, to be honest, if Virginia Masonry had some sort of formal education, maybe there wouldn't be a need for the research bodies, but you know, we tend to dig deeper into stuff. Brother Jones just joined us. Good to have you, brother. He's asking if they do the degree work in Tagalog. I think we talked about that a little bit before.
Yeah, that was addressed earlier.
Okay, but we do. It's sort of a special occasion. Typically, all the work is in English, as a rule. Correct, Manolo?
Yes. Yeah, actually, on the same subject, that was one of the drawback when we were trying to establish a lodge here in Virginia, founded by Filipinos. It worked against us because there was a misinformation that these are bunch of Filipinos trying to establish a Filipino lodge, which was wrong.
Right.
We were trying to establish another lodge. A lodge is a lodge and should be under the rule of the Grand Lodge. So, but it worked against us because they thought we were establishing a Filipino lodge run by Filipinos in whatever they want to do.
Filipinos, right?
Yeah, that was a wrong information, and it never took off.
Right. Well, I want to say I've never felt more welcome than in the lodges in Norfolk that are now, I'll say predominantly Filipino. You guys definitely make me feel at home, and I never eat better than when I go visit Joe. So you're doing something right. Plus, you're the only ones that are growing. So obviously, you're doing something right because you're bringing in members left and right. All right, well, let's go. I'm going to go around to everybody, and we'll start with you, Manolo, since you're up. What would you say, if you had to say, we've covered a lot today, what would you say is the biggest difference between American and Filipino Masonry? If you had to come down and pick one thing that's really stands out as being different in your experience.
I would say that Filipino it's more cordial per se. From my standpoint, there's an openness. I don't know why, because maybe I'm Filipino, but of course, me being Filipino, there's an instantaneous spark of cordiality when you go there. But from a different standpoint, from the American, it's still the same. I noticed that the brethren are more cordial when they have a visitor. They are very accommodating, especially coming from other places. Like when I was in Manila, there was a group from Singapore that came over. And then there's another group from Taiwan that came over. And they all congregated into this lodge, and the host lodge were very cordial to them.
Right. Okay. All right, Brother Jerry, what would you say is the biggest difference in your experience between American and Filipino Masonry?
Masonic funeral.
Oh, really? In what way?
Yes.
Just the way they do it?
Everybody wears a white apron. You don't wear a past master's apron or your lodge apron, officer's apron. Everybody's in a white apron and white gloves.
Okay. Well, that's typical here in Virginia. The only exception is I think the master and the chaplain. Supposedly, the lodge officers are supposed to wear their officer's apron, but virtually everybody else wears a white apron. You're saying everyone wears a white apron in the ceremony?
Yep.
Okay. All right. Brother Larry, you still with us? What's the biggest difference between American and Filipino Masonry?
I haven't actually attended any American lodges, but I do have some encounters with the American brethren in the Middle East, and the camaraderie is the same, and I did attend some lodges in Europe, but the one thing I noticed is that after the fellowship, after the dinner, it's finished. You all go home. In the Philippines, we get to stay in the lodge a little bit longer,
right?
To discuss, have some Masonic interactions with the brethren and all that.
Okay.
So that thing is what makes ours a bit more, more interesting.
Right. Okay. Is Brother Thomas still with us? He dropped. No, he's still there. Brother Thomas, are you still there? Brother Thomas?
I think his
Oh.
video is
Um,
okay.
Yes.
Well, I just learned a while ago that there seems to be a big difference in the opening and closing.
Yes.
When you compare the ones being used here in the Philippines and the US. So I think one big revelation for me is, a part of the opening and closing. Like in the US, you use the grand hailing sign. Here we don't.
Right.
We do use the substitute with the ancient master's word. So I think that's a very crucial difference in terms of the two jurisdictions.
I think it's
one
just
big
a matter
revelation
of,
for me.
I think it's just a matter. It's not that we don't have it. It's that it's communicated differently. So it's just a matter of the ritual, the opening and closing that's a little different. Okay, but just overall experience. So Thomas, have you attended lodge elsewhere besides the Philippines?
But if the opening and closing is different.
I'm sorry, you cut out.
I was able to attend not an opening closing, but an ANCOM in Taiwan.
Okay. All right. Well, I appreciate all of our panelists for attending. I'll have to say this.
I guess that's about it.
Okay. I will say this, just from what I'm hearing, is it appears like the Filipinos seem to have this masonry thing figured out, and maybe they still got something to teach us, because everything I'm hearing is what masonry should be doing. We should be more cordial. We should be more welcoming. We should be lingering after lodge is over. What I like most about my lodge is the camaraderie and the smoking cigars or not. After the lodge, I've been there till 11 o'clock at night. I've been there till 1 in the morning after an annual, because we have brothers who haven't been there all year and they come out for the annual. So, that's what we all should be doing as Masons. We need to be spending more time together, more time like this, where we're just talking and chatting, having interactions with each other. That's what Masonry is about. So I want to thank all the members of my panel for participating today. I really appreciate it, especially the ones who weren't even planned, who were willing to join in and answer questions. This has been great. I hope everybody's enjoyed it. Anybody on the floor, if anybody has any questions, anything I haven't touched on that you want to ask our panel before we close?
Yeah, I'm sorry, brothers. I'm super late. When was the Grand Lodge of Philippines, if I'm not speaking in error, when was it established?
Yes, it was established in 1912 by 3 lodges chartered by the Grand Lodge of California.
Nice, nice.
Thank you. Any other questions?
It's not a question, but another trivia.
Please.
So when the Americans took over, the Grand Lodge or the Grand Master, up to, I think, Manuel L. Quezon, President Manuel L. Quezon, they were all Anglo. And then right after Manuel Quezon, or it started at Manuel Quezon, then they started with the Filipino. So there was a time frame that it's all Americans that are presiding as Grand Master.
Okay, if I may add, that was in 1917 when there were lodges before the Grand Lodge of the Philippines was established. There were already.
I would think there had to be. What's the oldest lodge in the Philippines?
Yes, they were under the Grand Orient, Spanish Grand Orient, and then they fused, they merged, and then in 1917. So 27 lodges of the Filipino lodges merged with the Grand Lodge of the Philippines. And then beginning 1917, there was a gentleman's agreement between the Americans and the Filipinos. Up until the 1970s, the Grand Masters are alternating. For example, this year would be American, next year it's Filipino, and so on. It continued on until 1970s when there weren't enough Americans to occupy the Oriental chair. So that's
Well,
how it went.
I think Jerry's available now. Just kidding, Jerry. I know you're busy. So do we know what's the earliest lodge chartered in the Philippines?
Okay. The first lodge, it was before Filipinos were not allowed to join, only the Europeans, the Spanish. There was even a British lodge before. And then
when roughly was that?
Earliest is like 1860s.
Okay.
Or something.
Wow.
Yeah.
Interesting.
1860s. And then the Spanish Grand Orient began accepting Filipinos starting 1890s.
Okay.
And they
Wow.
established a regional Grand Lodge in the Philippines until it became like 27 lodges. And then when the Americans came, the Americans established their own lodges under the Grand Lodge of California. There was even a Prince Hall Lodge before in Nebraska. I'm not sure if there's still one. There was a Prince Hall Grand Lodge under the Prince Hall Grand Lodge of Washington that was established in the 1990s. I'm not sure if it's still active, but they used to attend our annual communications.
I heard something about that. Yeah, that Washington State had a lodge out there. Brother Manolo?
Yes, sir. I was gonna ask our brother that particular area because back in in the 80s and 90s, I was seeing activities of the Prince Hall Lodge, mostly from Clark Air Base that are stationed in the Southeast Asia region. They fly into Clark to do some activities around Clark Air Base. And I was curious if there are any remnants of the Prince Hall that are still doing it in the Philippines.
Yeah, to be honest, I'm not sure, man. I would have to do some research into it. I just off memory, I do recall somebody speaking on lodges out in the Philippines, but I don't want to misspeak.
Any other questions for the group? We're already at 11:30. These always run long. These are supposed to be an hour-long meeting, but I just keep it on as long as people are enjoying the discussion. So, but we're already at 11:38. But any other questions for any of our panelists? Now's your chance.
That's right, but that's the difference between the big piece with that's £3 off. But the size is set at £31.
Yep.
I guess there's no more questions.
Any brother, anything to offer before we close out? Any of our panelists got anything else they want to close with, or any other brother want to offer anything? Let me say this before I call in everybody. Next Saturday, March 6th, I'm very pleased to announce that Brother Moises Gomez, many of y'all are active on Facebook, have seen him, Team Badger. He speaks all over the place. He will be speaking on Freemasonry in Cuba, Revolution, Independence, and Democracy is the name of his topic. I've known Brother Gomez on Facebook for years, and he gets to travel all over the world, literally. He even talks about Masonry, so I was very happy I was able to grab him for our little session here. So I hope y'all can come out next Saturday and join us. If you have the address for this meeting, it doesn't change. So if you can just bookmark the tiny URL that I put out, I'm going to go and put it in the chat. Well, you should have it in your invites, but I have, it's basically, it's a recurring meeting. So I made it a tiny URL, which means you can bookmark that. And let me make sure I send it to everyone. So y'all can bookmark that if you like. It'll be on the group page as well. But I hope if all of y'all come out and attend next week, I want to have a good crowd for Brother Gomez. It should be an interesting talk. So any brother, anything to offer?
So I'm going to put in the chat a link to our YouTube channel. Lord Shilpa Karachi has had 51 lockdown lectures. All of them are on our YouTube channel. We'll be celebrating our 52nd next Tuesday. We have one every week. But our lodge are research. So if anybody wants to look in and see the lectures, they're all about an hour long. They've all got a question and answer session. So, if they have any questions, you can always come back to Lord Shilpa Karachi.
Excellent. Thank you.
By the way, thank you to everyone. That was an excellent afternoon.
Yeah, we appreciate you being here, Brother Clark. Again, thank you to all our participants. I keep offering the floor, and who wants to speak up besides Brother Clark? So please, anybody else want to say anything? Brother Elephant, we appreciate you being here.
Oh, thanks everyone. My first time to be on the site, so I thank you for the opportunity.
You're more than welcome to come back. I'm sorry, I naturally assumed all of you were frequent flyers, so maybe you learned a little bit along with the rest of us.
Sure.
But this has been a great experience. I've really enjoyed it. I knew a little of this, but it was fun asking questions and getting to learn a little bit more about our Filipino brothers and how they do things down there in the Philippines. Any brother, anything else to offer before I wrap this up?
Just want to say hello to everybody from Massachusetts. Enjoyed this. We have a past master of our lodge, and currently he's high priest of our chapter, who was born in the Philippines. Father was military, his mother was Filipino, and very interesting. And I think the Filipino brothers would be very much at home in Massachusetts. We don't use the grand hailing sign in the opening either in Massachusetts. In Massachusetts, we used to have to do all business on a 3rd degree, and a few years ago that changed, so we can now do business on any degree. But when I joined, all business was done, the district deputy was received, everything had to be on the 3rd degree. But that's no longer the case in Massachusetts.
Right.
I got to get ready. We're doing a 1st degree in a neighboring lodge. I'm in Western Mass in Amherst, home of University of Massachusetts. But I'm going down to Holyoke to do the lectures, or one of the lectures for the entered apprentice degree this afternoon. So under COVID restrictions. So,
right.
hello to everybody. I hope you have a great day or evening. Robert, we have a Robert Clark here in Western Mass. It used to be the active for Scottish Rite some years ago. So Bob Clark. It's a familiar name to me, but you look a little different. And all of you, great day. And thank you, Chris, for having this set up.
All right. Appreciate it, Chris. Anybody else, anything to offer? Okay. Thank you all for coming out. We'll see you all next Saturday. This will be, Brother Davis, are we all just waving? That's fine. Okay. No one else has anything. Thank you all for coming. Thanks again to our panel, and we'll do this every Saturday at 10 for the foreseeable future. We do have, I think, March 20th, I'll be hosting Virginia Research Chapter. Royal Arch Chapter will have a meeting, and I will be the guest speaker. So I'd ask you all to join that. I will promote it on our group. So we won't be meeting on the 20th, but I hope you all come out for that. But barring that, we meet every Saturday unless there's another research body meeting at the same time. And I try to court them and take people with me to their meetings. So look forward to see you all every Saturday when you all can make it. So thanks, everybody. Join our group. Message me or email me to sign up for our weekly papers. And thank you all for coming out.